Now I'm going to move to Alberta with another example. This one's a small company, electrical transmission utility, that handles electricity transmission across most of the entire northern part of Alberta, very widespread area. They have some remote, isolated operations. Well, they'd asked me to come in and talk about my book, teach a course. So I taught several courses to groups of these people in their Edmonton offices. And a group of them decided they wanted to become the example of how to implement Uptime, the name of my book, in their operation. So I was asked to come and work with a small group, 10 of them to be exact, 10 people, at a little isolated operation in a small community. I went in, I looked at the consulting effort that had been done before. Another consultant had been there, and they'd made a bunch of recommendations, but nothing was working. The changes were not happening and nothing was sticking. Why was this? So I talked to people. I interviewed individuals. And I found out what was going on, what was really going on. First of all, the consultants that had been in there before had actually done a very good job. I didn't make too many recommendations that would change what they had suggested. But what I did talk to them about was the way they behaved. The head office managers had completely disengaged from the people in the field. They'd abdicated responsibility. They hadn't delegated it. I talked to the people at the site, and I found a lot of dysfunctional behavior. There was a feud going on, 5 against 5, led by 2 individuals that could not stand each other. They were hardwired differently, and they just didn't know how to get along. This had been going on for years, and performance had not changed one iota. We pulled them all together in a meeting, except for the few guys needed to actually run the plant while we were doing this. After all, they did have to keep the lights on in town. And I called them on it. I reported what I had found. Now, I didn't blame individuals and say, you are doing this. I talked about the behaviors that I was observing and how it was affecting the people around them. How these 2 individuals who constantly undermined each other's efforts were continuously undermining the efforts of the entire site to improve its performance. Well, once this was out in the open, something they all knew, but nobody had the guts to talk about. Well, I'm blunt. So I just came in and said so. But it got it out in the open, and that was critical. That helped them shift. They could see the value in making changes in themselves so that it would actually help them. Well, they've developed an improvement program now. It contains elements from the original consultant's work, a few little suggestions I made, and a whole lot of work on how to behave with each other. That site is now improving performance. They've won the only award for massive performance improvement in their company. They wear the ball caps proudly. Now, what's happened there that was so different? People. Way back when I was leading a global consulting practice in PricewaterhouseCoopers, I learned about the importance of people. Here I'm a techie engineer going into a pulp and paper mill, which just happened to be the lowest cost producer in North America, trying to figure out how did they do it. You know, what's their secret? And we looked around, the practices were a shamble, processes were informal. It was just chaotic, and we just couldn't figure this out. So there's a team of us in there trying to see, like, you know, what do these guys do? What have they figured out that the rest of us haven't? They're doing everything that looks like bad practices, and here we are trying to find out what the good practices are. Yet they produce at low cost. Funny accounting? No, that wasn't it. The secret was in the way they interacted with each other. Everybody got along. When Jacques had a problem with his child on paper machine number 3, the plant manager sent flowers to his wife, helped them feel good. They got along. They liked each other. Union and management actually cooperated. Now, as a bunch of engineers doing an assessment, we were very, very surprised at what we were seeing here. It took us a while first to get it, because we were looking for all the technical stuff. But when it finally clicked, it was, aha, the lights came on. The book reflects that understanding, that awareness that I've gained of human behavior and how important it is to success. Yeah, I'm an engineer. I got a lot of technical background. I can get into nuts and bolts just with the best of them. Maybe not electronics, but I don't need to. My clients know that already. What they don't know, in many cases, is what it is they're doing, often subconsciously, to undermine their own performance. And